I've spent the last few weeks deep diving into all things YouTube Premium, specifically how it relates to creator monetization. That's what I really care about here. And I've seen a few claims that YouTube has been making that YouTube Premium is exclusively beneficial for all creators. And to be honest, I just didn't really believe them. And so now I've got the data to back up my claims. I have done some very interesting research here and come across some really disturbing but interesting pieces of information that I just felt like I needed to share with everybody. And for those of you out there who are making more money on Premium than you are from YouTube ads, which is the conversation that I'm covering today, good, that's great, but I think it's gonna change for you. I don't think that that's gonna last very long. So let's get into it. So this all started when YouTube started talking about their new Premium Lite option. They announced this probably a month or two ago, and I was just looking through YouTube comments to see what people were thinking about this. And one commenter specifically expressed this very valid and interesting concern. They said this: unfortunately for many creators, the more viewers that sign up for Premium, the lower revenue goes. At least in my experience and my metrics, the Premium views make up 10% of all my views, but revenue from Premium views only makes up 1.5% of my total revenue. So you'd think that if they were getting 10% Premium views, they should be getting 10% Premium earnings, right? But that's not how it was happening. They were getting like 10 times less earnings for every view. So very interesting. They said they won't subscribe to Premium because of that. Someone then commented, said, well, that just can't be right. That doesn't sound right. YouTube says that it's okay and it's good for creators. Then somebody then said, we need a full-blown study on this. So that's where I decided, like, I should really dive into this because I just don't have the answers. And this is something that seemingly is impacting a lot of creators. And a lot of the comments were saying very similar things. So I started diving in and I decided that I didn't want just the data that I had access to. I wanted to ask a lot more people. So I put out surveys and I looked at all the channels that I have access to, which is a significant number, I'll admit, and started collecting data. And I'm gonna get to that here in just a minute, but I want to talk to you really quick about how YouTube Premium is supposed to work with creators, the way that YouTube makes it sound like YouTube Premium is working for creators. And that's that most people are assuming that, let's say they pay $10 for YouTube Premium, okay? These are just made up numbers. Let's say you pay $10 a month for YouTube Premium, and let's say YouTube takes 50%. So now you're left with $5. A lot of people assume that that $5 is then distributed to all of the creators that you watched during that month. That's not the case. What actually happens is YouTube takes their percentage, let's say 50% for the sake of simplicity, then that $5 is left. Well, what happens is YouTube takes that $5 and they put it into a large pot of money that all of the Premium money goes into. And then an algorithm decides who gets paid what. And so basically that $5 that you thought was going to the creators you were watching, it's not going to them. Maybe a little bit of it is because you did watch some of their content, but the majority of it ends up going to different creators that are getting way more engagement, probably much larger creators in many cases, depending on how much engagement those channels are getting. And that was really disheartening to me because it felt like, okay, great, yeah, YouTube Premium, it's covering up some loss from like ad blockers and that sort of thing. That's great, fine. But at the end of the day, it always has made it seem like, YouTube has always made it seem like that this was going to be more beneficial for creators. And I think small creators are the ones that are most vulnerable here. And so it just didn't quite sit right to me when I learned this. In fact, I was kind of shocked and really upset. Anyone here in our office got an earful when I found this out. And I guess part of the reason I was so disappointed in this is the way that ads work on YouTube. Not to get too deep in the weeds here, but for every ad view that let's say as a viewer, if I watch a video, that creator gets paid, right? If I watch a different video, that creator gets paid. That's not how it's working with Premium, right? That money is getting distributed in a totally different way. So the whole recap here is that Premium viewership does not equal the monetization that we thought it was equaling. So let's break down some of the data that I found. Like I said, I did some surveys. I looked at a ton of different channels. And so from some of the channels that I looked at specifically, I dug very deep into them. I was comparing Premium views versus Premium earnings, and then ad views, ad earnings, breaking it down by watch hour, breaking it down per view. And on my personal channel, for every $5 I was earning from YouTube ads, I was only earning $1 from YouTube Premium. On another channel that I looked at, which is a very large channel, getting millions and millions of views every single month, that channel, for every $2 it made on ads, they were only making $1 on YouTube Premium. So that's a huge difference, right? And that's on even big channels, potentially. So again, that didn't quite feel right, but there's probably people out there making more money on YouTube Premium than they are from ads. And actually, as I continued to do my research, I did find that. There are channels out there who do make more from premium, but they're very specific types of channels. It's very high engagement, high watch time, that type of channel. Those are the ones who are making more. People, if you're watching their video for 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour, those channels typically make more from premium because those channels benefit from ad-free viewership more. So those channels would make less from ads anyway, plus their premium views are higher because they're getting higher levels of engagement. So the way that YouTube has their monetization set up for premium is that those channels are really favored in the eyes of the algorithm. That's just the way that it seems to be set up. Now, a lot of people reached out and said, yes, I make less from YouTube Premium than I do from ads. There were a couple people who did reach out and said they made more, and I want to say thank you to all those of you who participated in the study because it means a lot to know where creators are standing. And like I said, for those of you who are earning more, that's great. I don't think that's going to last, and I'm going to mention that and explain it here in just a few minutes. The next question that I had in this journey of discovery was, if creators are making less money here, wouldn't YouTube also be making less money? And that was a really interesting rabbit hole to dive down because, for example, like when I was trying to figure out if all creators are making less money, then YouTube should be making less money too. That's not the case. If some creators are making more from premium than others, YouTube's taking their cut no matter what. But YouTube, from a long-term business perspective, they like the steady subscription revenue. So even if they're making maybe a little bit less than they would on premium than they are making on ads, it probably all balances out. And then on some months when ads are really bad, when ad rates are low, they're still making their premium subscription. From a long-term standpoint, YouTube also, they need that subscription because there are other platforms out there doing subscription models. And so like with YouTube Music and ad-free videos and downloading and all that stuff, YouTube is incentivized to have market share. And so even if they may be potentially losing a little bit off the top now, over time they're gonna maintain their market share and potentially even grow their market share. Wink, wink, YouTube Premium Lite, they're looking to increase their market share, even if it means a lower cost per user or a lower value per user. And that leads me into the next thing, which I mentioned a couple times. This is gonna get worse. People are gonna start making less money from YouTube Premium, nearly guaranteed. Here's why. YouTube says they have 125 million people using YouTube Premium right now. That's a ton of people. Now, YouTube Premium and YouTube Premium Lite, those are now their two offerings. YouTube Premium, let's say it costs $15 on a US, again, just a fake number. YouTube Premium costs like YouTube Premium Lite costs like 40% less. So, if you're, $15, it's gonna cost like $7 or $8. So they're going to be making significantly less per user. And a lot of people in the comments when YouTube Lite was launched, they said, this is a perfect offering for me because I don't use YouTube Music. I don't want to download videos. All I want are ad-free video watching experience. That's all I wanted. So I think that there's going to be a lot of those people from that 125 million who downgrade from YouTube Premium down to YouTube Premium Lite. Well, if people go from paying YouTube $15 a month now to $7 a month, there is way less money to be split out among creators. And especially for those of you who are making more money on premium. For those of us sitting over here making little from premium anyway, it's like almost like who cares? But for those of you who are making more, this is going to severely impact your monetization on the YouTube platform. If a viewer was paying in $7 or $8 to be split amongst creators before, now they're only putting in $3, maybe $4. So there's going to be a huge hit to creators here. And that really just doesn't sit well with me. Not only that, but aside from the people who are likely to downgrade from premium to premium light, there are also going to be more people who just sign up for premium light because it's cheaper now, and that's going to reduce the number of ad views that people are getting, ad-supported viewers. And so overall, this just feels like a shift in monetization that is a little bit more alarming than anybody is really talking about. And I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, but I just don't understand why YouTube would do this other than for their own personal gain, but it just doesn't seem to be beneficial for creators the way that they say it is. And again, I think that's where my core problem lies here is YouTube Premium was presented as something that helps all creators. And I'll admit, I think in some ways it does. From the ad blocker perspective, if creators can earn money from YouTube Premium rather than people paying for ad blockers, that's great. But the earnings are not matching up in a lot of cases, and now the earnings are gonna be lower, and it's now stealing from ad-supported earnings. So all those things put together just really make me question what's going on here. And I don't want to just be negative all the time. This isn't supposed to be negative. I want you to be informed because A lot of people get on the YouTube platform and they make money on the YouTube platform, whether it's their memberships, whether it's, the YouTube premium subscription, whether it's ads, whatever. People are only making money on YouTube. I think that creators just need to get a little bit smarter here, because there are a lot of other ways to make money off the YouTube platform. In fact, we tell all of our students in our YouTube system that you should only be making 10% of your revenue on the YouTube platform, and the other 90% should be off platform. And we help people get there. And so that's what I would encourage you to do with this information. Not that there's doom and gloom and that it's all going to fail around you. I think YouTube does want to keep creators on the platform. So I think they're going to walk that line. Of course, they're going to try and get as much money out of us as possible. But I do think they want to keep creators on the platform, and the platform is a great place to market yourself. It's a great place to grow an audience. And so do that, but then find other ways off platform to monetize. We have a lot of videos on this channel that talk about monetizing your channel on and off platform, even monetizing your channel before you even hit 1,000 subscribers. Believe it or not, you can make a ton of money even as a very small channel. So go check out those videos, and don't forget about our challenge. Check the link in the description and get signed up today so you don't miss out on a great opportunity to grow your channel faster than ever. See you, channel makers.